I'm already hot, let's go. Far Cry New Dawn is the stinky conclusion to Far Cry 5, which continues to see Joseph Seed as the protagonist, which is great, because I love him, and he's so cool. This game manages to do most things worse than Far Cry 5, with the exception of one little thing that was a game late, but I'll get to that in a bit. Game is mostly an absolute mess, with bad writing and railroad-style decisions. It's grindy, it's cringe, and it doesn't need to exist. For the most part, I hate this game. The only thing I can really say that I didn't hate are some of the visuals. It really did a good job making the post-apocalyptic world seem somewhat magical. It's not what I normally want from my post-apocalyptia, but it's kinda nice. The visuals are mostly ruined by the kooky, colorful bad guys in the game, though. The only other good thing is that the game is fully co-op, but it's mostly downhill from here. Some of the missions just ignore the fact that the game is co-op, like when you save Rush, it's the stupid tricycle thing that only has 2 seats. And Rush is driving, so you gotta get creative. Or when you save Nick, and it's the stupid wingless plane, it's a 2-seater, he's in the back seat, so you gotta get creative. I don't know how they just overlooked it in these missions, but it's like, come on, it's a co-op game, you made it co-op. In the mechanics department, the game is definitely pushing Ubisoft's cash shop a little harder by making the game way grindier. Due to the post-apocalyptic setting, there's no longer a need for currency, so everything is purchased with either ethanol, which is used for base upgrades and other stuff, or a variety of parts, which come from burnt-out barns, homes, just wrecked buildings and stuff that you do these little collection missions in. The parts are scarce, and guns need a lot of them. Some of the more advanced guns need advanced parts, and you can only get those from these dumb excursions where you raid a base to get parts so you can build, quote-unquote, build a gun. You're just buying it. And you don't have enough resources because, you don't want to grind in Far Cry New Dawn for 4 hours or whatever. The game offers you resource packs, and the resource packs are purchased with Ubisoft's, gold system, and, you already spent $40 on this trash, so you shouldn't have to buy more, you know what I'm saying? Come on. Unforgivably, New Dawn also removed airplanes, leaving me with only stinky helicopters. This is an unforgivable sin, and that alone makes the game irredeemable in my eyes. This is made even worse by the fact that your main base is way down in the bottom corner of the map for some awful reason, so everything is just really far away. Now I'm going to take a big chomp into the story because it kind of needs it. In this game, you play as a train-riding hero who solves problems along the train line. Immediately, the train is destroyed and everyone you know is murdered with the exception of a psychopath named Rush, and a well-mannered girl named Carmina, who is the baby from Far Cry 5, but she's older now and making a lot of bad life choices, like riding a train with a sociopath. You have a good first meeting with the female tag team champions, the twins, from the Highwaymen. Lou and Mickey, or as I call them, Pink and Blue, kill some idiot and push you into a river where you're found by Carmina, and the two of you make your way to Prosperity, where the survivors from Far Cry 5 live. From here, you rescue Rush. He's a psychopath, don't trust him.
Jesus, I thought you were dead. I should have known you'd come through. You came back from me.
And defend your base successfully. They make it seem unsuccessful, but you did a good job and you defended it. Small side tangent. The game likes to do this thing where you win and it acts like you suffered a devastating loss, which normally is reserved for JRPGs and stuff, where you do a really hard fight and you win, and then the game is like, yeah, that villain came out on top, you really suck. You're railroaded a lot, and it's really noticeable, but what can you expect from a game with a giant recycled map?
Find out what this Joseph has.
At this point, everyone's like, oh, we need help from Joseph, which is just so upsetting. Somebody at Ubisoft really related to Joseph and convinced the whole team that he needed to be really relevant and sympathetic for 2 games. They all act like his crew of bow-wielding morons are so much stronger than one of me roaming around killing everyone, but for 2 games I've been unstoppable, so why do we need Joseph's goods? Now you get to meet Joseph's son for the first time, who seems like maybe, just maybe, he and everyone else in the town has had sex with Joseph at some point, and I don't know, maybe saying that is problematic. But he's got some serious daddy issues and kind of just wants you to prove Joe is dead, which would be great and all, but we know he isn't. After a super long, boring boat ride with quote-unquote definitely not radiation, you reach Joseph, who offers you delicious god fruit. But it's not god fruit, it's just chock full of delicious radiation. I'm not opposed to the powers in this game being from divine sources, I just refuse to believe anything Joseph has ever done has been divinely inspired or powered because he's an asshole. After eating the radiation fruit, you fight a radiation bear and give it a few super radiation jabs to send it to radiation space. Now you have access to the radiation skills, which I don't need. No thanks, Joseph. From here, things go back to normal and you gotta deal with Pink and Blue. The sisters have somehow managed to kidnap Rush again. I don't want to victim blame, but I think he likes it. It's at this point the game starts to make you do this thing where in order to make it so you can realistically end the game in any given situation, you put your guns away before entering a place where you can just kill the twins, which is dumb because they go, leave your guns outside, you don't have power here anymore. It's like, yes I do, if I bring my guns in. Anyway, Rush gets absolutely brained, good thing too because he seemed untrustworthy, and you activate Hulk mode to rough up the dynamic duo, but not kill them because you need to jump through some more hoops for that. They quickly copy the funeral scene from Far Cry 5, and then you do a prison break, which is super dumb because you have to hand over your weapons again, even though you could have just shot your way through, and then you gotta do this broken-ass demolition derby, which is easier if you get out of the car. Also, you can meet with the twins and find out that What's-His-Nuts has made a deal to give them
magic fruit that makes you powerful? Bullshit.
and destroy New Eden. At this point, you gotta drive back up there and do a boss fight against the old tag team duo, which is just ridiculously difficult. Absolute bullet sponges slurping up my bullets.
Let's bring more people in this party.
Anyway, for some reason there's a last attempt at making Pink and Blue seem like sympathetic characters, which is pretty dumb because they've been irredeemably bad this whole time. Unless you count killing Rush as a good thing, the game seems to think he was a good guy. It doesn't matter. Now you and your co-op partner are the tag team champions and you gotta kill Joseph. I mean, help Joseph deal with his disgruntled son. At this point, you go really far north, which is where you can see some nice tasty radiation, and you can kinda hear it too, which is fun. Almost makes you wonder if that fruit tree is perfectly normal. You're probably fine, you ate its fruit and you aren't gonna die in a year or less. Now, as much as I'd like to say that becoming a shadow monster is a regular side effect of consuming immense amounts of radiation, I can't confidently say that. So whatever the hell this final boss fight is, can just be written off as the devil, I guess. 1 point for Joseph. This fight is so much easier than the fight against the twins. He's got big ol' glowing weak spots. Once the fight is over, whatever this guy's name is goes back to normal, but has what looks like radiation burns all over his body. The game finally admits Joseph has been bad all along, and his actions in Far Cry were the actions of a villainous character. Thank goodness they acknowledged that, otherwise I may never have known that he was actually bad. Thank you, Ubisoft. During his whole monologue, I'm mash and click in hopes that I can pull the trigger sooner. Just let me pull the trigger. Just let me shoot him. Yeah! Unfortunately, shooting Joseph at game late doesn't make up for the harm he inflicted upon me for the duration of 2 whole games. At least I can walk away from this game a winner, and definitely not the loser for buying and playing an entire game just to shoot Joseph. But, hey, what's better than personally enacting my vengeance upon this snot-nosed crybaby? I can't think of anything. Definitely not just avoiding the game entirely. It wasn't in any way a recycled cash grab. I definitely didn't continue to portray Joseph as a redeemable good guy and try to guilt me into not shooting him for being a bastard, man. I mean, definitely not a sucker. I'm not a sucker. Come on, guys, it's serious, please. Don't call me a sucker. I just want to shoot Joseph.